reigning goals in the Club World Cup. Welcome to Kicking Off Podcast. My name is Blair. I'm joined by my former boss, now current co-host, Ben Ballantyne. All right, Ben?
Yeah, I'm good, Sam, mate. Thank you.
And I'm joined by my very good friend, Joe. All right, Joe, you're going?
Hello, not too bad. The debut on a podcast, so
yeah,
excited to get started.
He just wants to mention Liverpool because we always slag him off, so he wants to come on here and defend.
That's it, yeah. I weren't coming on otherwise, but I heard the slander, had to join.
So your story, Ben. I met Joe 18 years ago. I was at a house party. We never spoke to each other. We knew who each other were. Got to 10:30 this house party in this girl's house. I saw the time, 10:30. I thought, right, I'm off. Straight to the living room, put Match of the Day on. Joe's already in there putting it on. I thought, oh, here we go. That was it. That's when Match of the Day was watchable. Anyway, let's kick off. God, pun intended. Right, Club World Cup started this weekend. There's one good thing about being in mid-30s, I nearly said mid-50s, and not quite yet. Mid-30s, and they can't go a full night without waking up and needing a wee. I caught the second half of Inter Miami versus Al Ahly at 2 o'clock this morning. I'll tell you what, Inter Miami is literally just pass to Messi. That is their tactic.
Yeah.
And it nearly worked.
I'm not surprised that put you back to sleep by the looks of it.
Yeah. Well, he's not bad, is he?
Yeah, Messi's all right, actually. Suarez's legs have completely gone now. And it was just funny seeing it here in Busquets to Suarez to Messi, and it was just literally like Messi would he could still do it, and he'd pop it off to the right to whoever in the Miami's winger was. He lost the ball that many times. Like I said, I fell back to sleep, and he just lost the ball every time. And I thought, God, if Messi was in a decent team still, he could probably still do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, so I'll go to you, Joe, first. Club World Cup. It's had its rebranding by FIFA. When you first initially heard about the rebrand, what was your initial thoughts?
I mean, I didn't think there was anything wrong with the previous one. To be fair, like the champions of each continent basically fighting out. I thought that was pretty self-explanatory for what it should be. But it's cool that it's a bigger tournament. Again, it's another thing to put more fixtures in. Get more money, I guess, but it's also going to add to players being tired and more excuses, I guess.
Well, the English players will definitely be tired.
Yeah.
That is for sure. Ben, what was your initial thoughts when you first heard about the Club World Cup?
Well, I think they had to put the money behind it, didn't they, to make the big teams as such that should be travelling there, not play reserve players. You know, they have to make it worthwhile, don't they? And I think that's what they've done, meaning now you're not going to have teams going, well, we can't play the players because they're tired. There's that much money behind it now, they will absolutely play the best players. Because as we know, players are only tired when it suits them. Because when the season's finished and they want to go on a pre-season tour straight to Australia or whatever, teams do, they're not tired then, are they, when there's money packed behind it. So I think it's a good decision from FIFA. Adding the more teams, I just think they just tried to make it a bigger spectacle, aren't they, for around the world. I think it's a good decision.
I saw, so my only issue I had with the old format was it was just in such a weird part of the year, wasn't it? It was like December that you flied off to, and it was just sort of like mid-season for the Premier League clubs. It was just sort of like so bizarre. Like, I mean, this is from a European perspective. It might be other people might be like, no, it's fine.
Was it years ago that Man United dropped out the FA Cup? Was that because they were going to a Club World Cup and they were going to play so many games? Was that the time they didn't play it?
It's I think it was because they had a game on the same day, so they couldn't field the team because obviously the team were in a different continent.
Right.
So they just basically went, yeah, well, we're not playing it, so they just dropped out.
Fair enough.
Didn't Liverpool have something similar? Like
As with day after, yeah.
You had the League Cup game on the Wednesday. And you had to fly out.
We played. I remember we played Villa, and I think we played an average age of like 19. And I think we got bopped 5-0. But it's you kind of put the trophies you don't see as often. You want to put them into the into limelight rather than a League Cup, which is every season.
Absolutely.
England is one of the only countries, though, that doesn't really support the teams in Europe. Most of the other teams, you'll never play on a Sunday, for instance. They'll play them on a Friday night to give them those extra days. In England, they just don't care, do they? But I suppose that's why we've got the mega money in the Premier League from TV rights.
Yeah, they do moan about that every year. They'll go, PSG, because PSG in France and stuff, they postpone a game on the weekend. They'll go, right, you don't play this weekend because we want you to win in Europe. They want their teams to be more successful in Europe. But the caveat of that in the Premier League, it's like, well, you want to sign all these good players and be on loads of money. Well, you got to play on the Sunday, sauce, mate. And that's just you can't have you cake and eat it, as they say. I tell you what, some of the so there's £1 billion I think $1 billion difference in dollars. $1 billion worth of prize money FIFA's pumped into this, across the whole tournament. I think the winner will get about 125 million quid in total. We saw Bayern Munich today beat Auckland City, who are part-time. Their manager's a dentist, and they couldn't make it because he couldn't get the time for work. And you're playing Bayern Munich. But they're already dominant in their league, and they've been given 3 million quid just to turn up. So it's just like, you're giving a semi-professional team £3 million in a league they're already dominant in. Like they're just going to be they'll never ever lose ever again, probably in New Zealand. And then, I was about to go to you, Joe. Anyway, to go to you, I think it's going to break every league outside of Europe completely. So I just think it's going to every team who's qualified at this year is going to get a big boost of cash, and then they're going to qualify for it again next time, whenever that is. I think it's 3 years' time, or something, because they've got the advantage, and the criteria to qualifying for it is just your how well you do in your domestic, your domestic competitions and your what is it, CONCACAF and your what would you call it, your continental cups?
Yeah. Pretty much. I was going to say pretty much the same thing. It's going to make the dominant teams more dominant, and it's almost that the word you shouldn't say. It's almost a super league, isn't it? Because you're just giving the best teams more money, and as soon as that happens, it's obviously going to filter down negatively as it goes. But
how do you stop? How do you stop a European Super League? Just create a Champions League with more teams in it, and we'll just create a Club World Cup with more teams in it.
Well, there's rumours that FIFA want to do this every 2 years. So they want a World Cup every 2 years, one being the Club World Cup, and then 2 years later being the World Cup, and then 2 years later being the Club World Cup again. Well, the Euros is going to be every 2 years as well, isn't it? Every 4 years. So the Euros is going to... So I think FIFA, because FIFA don't like UEFA, and I think FIFA are trying to get to the point where they go, what would you want to play in the European competition or the global World Cup of stuff. So I think it's going to come to its head soon. It's going to explode. Ben, journalists again are going off about being tired. Extra workload, more games, less time off for the players. How do you feel about players being tired?
Well, you can make more. You can make more subs now. You can make more subs. You can have bigger squads. You can, just rotate. But you'll see it all the time, won't you? You'd look. Klopp loved whinging about the players being tired, and especially, but then would not make a sub until 75 minutes.
Yeah, I can remember that game.
And it'd be the same starting lineup for the next 10 weeks if they weren't injured, and would never take them off. So I appreciate the fact. I'm not just picking on Klopp, it's just an example, but it's usually the
Pep
big managers. Yeah, and Pep loves to do it as well. And you think only the rest of the world would dream of having the squad you have.
Yeah. Jeremy Doku on your bench, and your wingers tired, and you're bringing on Doku, and it's just like what?
So I appreciate players probably do get tired and do get a little bit jaded and need dropping out of the team, but I think football's made it more and more capable now Like, you've got these bigger squads, you've got more money, you can make more subs, you've got more chance than ever to be able to do it.
I think for me, more games, more football isn't. I don't buy into the tiredness and that. And I'll never ever sympathise with them because they earn that much money. They don't like when we finish work, we have to go home, cook, clean, deal with the kids. Mrs. also got to work because we don't earn enough money so the wife can still be a stay-at-home mum. Our days don't finish till gone 9:30 when the kids are asleep and everything's tired and tidied away.
And we decide to do a podcast.
Yeah. Whereas their days finished at 1:00 in the afternoon. They just play golf in the afternoon. They have a Michelin star chef. Yeah, I'm sorry. Swimming pool. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't buy into the tiredness, right?
And the recovery systems that they have at all the clubs at the top level is phenomenal, isn't it?
Well, League Two players don't get tired. Clearly, the National League players.
No, they really can't rotate the squads, can they?
No, just run into the ground for the 16 players they have.
And
they just keep going.
I know. And then when they retire at 32, 35, they've got to open like a cafe or something to keep going. Like I can't just like sit back and go, right, that's me done now. I work for the rest of my life. They're earning generational wealth. Like their grandkids probably will have to work again. Some of these players. And they're moaning.
No, taking it back to especially the Klopp thing. He was just one who actually moaned about it in public more than others, I think. But it was also, if you look at the state of our squad now, it were his training that were also making him tired because slots come in and we've had hardly any injuries and everyone's ticking along fine. So it just shows you that you can complain, but if you're going to work your players to the bone and have that ethos, you've got to actually manage their time better, and you can't then just moan about the extra games.
I think less is more. 100%. I think having more football on every day, especially when they're moving the fixtures around especially domestically. We've got football on every day pretty much, and I think that does dilute the product a bit. And I want more games with more jeopardy. I want games to have more riding on each game. So if that means chopping some games out, then fair play. But they're never going to do it. Imagine if the Champions League didn't have a group stage and it was a straight knockout. That was it. You just draw like it was in the good old days.
Cup Winners' Cup.
Yeah, just straight knockout. I think you'd love it. You'd absolutely love it because but they don't want that. They want the same teams being shown more.
Because without a group stage, it really does become, any dog on its day can win.
Yeah, that's why the FA Cup's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, they're not prepared to. That's probably, why they've stopped all these knockout competitions as much as possible. Because it just gives the biggest teams a chance to constantly rise to the top, doesn't it? But it's win-win all round, isn't it, for the competition and the clubs, because they generate the competitions the most money because they've got the biggest following. They don't really care about, Brentford ever being able to make it.
No.
They don't, because, they're never going to, unfortunately, with the way FFP is and the way the big teams will always dominate with the fan bases, it's going to be so hard to break into that top six or whatever you call it in any of the leagues, isn't it?
Well, I think with this Club World Cup, what do you think, Joe? But how you qualify for it is how well you are doing, within your sphere. Once you've qualified for the World, you know how PSR works. We brushed on it last week a bit, Ben, didn't we? About like how much it's about income you make off the pitch, which goes towards it. Once you qualify for this thing more than once, you're basically going to be unstoppable, aren't you?
Yeah, you're going to see the same teams realistically, aren't you?
Yeah.
Every single time it comes around, there's going to be very, very minor differences. It's going to be City, Liverpool, Chelsea, maybe Arsenal, and a mix of that kind of 4 or 5 teams.
Qualify for it.
But, I just think it's
win something first.
They've got to win something.
You don't get there coming second, do you?
I think it's a really good concept, and I do like it. But it feels like it's more of a just another thing to. It feels like a money grab more than anything else. I think if it were done properly, sort of doing like you said, less games, a little bit more jeopardy, it would be a lot more fun to watch. And that's why I like to watch darts now.
I don't know, although darts seems to be very repetitive at the moment. You see, keep seeing the same people going up against each other all the time.
You do on the TV events, but in the like Euro Tour and stuff. You see a lot of different faces, or like lesser teams, or lesser players, should I say, sort of making that step up. Because on a one-off game, anyone can win. Whereas when it's a league sort of standing, you've got that part where you can just kind of rest on your laurels and win a couple and you're all right.
I don't know if you saw this, Joe, but after the Bayern Munich 10-0 win, Michael Elise basically said, I don't feel anything towards Auckland City. I don't feel bad for him or nothing. And I loved that interview because it just shows that all these people make excuses, mainly English journalists, about too many games and that. Professional footballers just want to play games and win football matches.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's going to be the same. However much money you get paid, it's generally going to stay the same. You become a footballer because you enjoy football. 99% of the time, at least. There's a few players who don't like it, apparently, but are really good. So they do it. But I just think if you really want to be a footballer, it's like the players who really want it will make it work, because it is something there's some natural ability, but if you work at it, you can quite easily become decent to a decent level, especially in England.
They'd rather play in this than some sort of Audi Cup somewhere, wouldn't they?
I don't know. Spurs do love a good Audi Cup, mate.
I don't know, but where are Liverpool at the moment, Joe? Are they in Australia somewhere or anything, or have they been anywhere yet?
Probably. I think they're all on holiday still, to be honest.
Oh, Jesus.
Slot loves Ibiza, doesn't he? So it's. No, I think it would give him a bit of a break, a bit of a rest. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's good. Like I said, I'm glad we're not in the Club World Cup this time round. I think having Slot's first summer to sort of focus on who he wants to bring in and ship off is more important.
I think that's it now, isn't it, for Slot? I think coming in and adding, your ethos into a squad that's already, collectively together. Once you start adding in your own players and having to integrate them into your team, it might change things up a bit.
Might do. I'm excited to see it though. It's probably the most pivotal summer that I've seen in quite a while, probably since the Van Dijk sort of winter summer transfer windows. But I trust his judgment. Has been fantastic since he's come in so far, so I can't really grumble too much.
Realistically, Joe, how long do you think Salah's got left in him?
He's sort of Ronaldo, Messi standard of like conditioning, so I'd probably say 2 or 3 years still, at least. Because I think you can move him infield, and I think that's might be what we're thinking at the minute, where we've got sort of Verts coming in if he does or whatever. But you can move Salah in the middle, and he'll probably last even longer, sort of like what Ronaldo's done.
Yeah.
Ben, you watched a bit of PSG?
Yeah.
Playing Atletico Madrid there, no mugs?
No.
Ripping them apart?
Well, I don't know how you break that PSG team, because they seem to be able to cope with everything. And the thing is, what I'm so impressed with them about is how hard, once their midfield gets broken, how much they track back. So once you break through the first press of PSG, they force you to have to play forward. You can't turn around, because they've literally got 2 midfielders running you down behind you as well. So you've got no choice but to play forward. And then they're so quick at the back, all the way across the back, they'll just win the ball back. And the 2 centre-backs are really aggressive. And when PSG do get the ball, if you watch them, they'll only ever pass back once, and then the next pass is forward immediately. And if there is times where they do have to pass back twice, but it's very rare. Like it's just everything's forward. Like this, the second goal they scored, Atletico nearly scored a goal, and Griezmann shot it straight at Donnarumma, and they just hit them on the break. It was like 4 first-time passes, and then Fabian Ruiz has just turned them around, ran into a corner, and they're just absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, it's currently 2-0 as well.
Yeah, you've got, well, Hakimi, in my opinion, is by far the best right back in the world. He's just absolutely unbelievable.
So fast, isn't he? So fast.
I tell you what, it's absolutely red hot in California, mate. He don't look tired one bit. He's been doing runs down left wing every now and again as well, because you know what he's like.
He's got everything, hasn't he? He really has got everything. Gets forward, gets back, defends well, quick.
Yeah.
He's been there a couple of years as well, hasn't he? It's not like he's just picked him up. They signed him from Inter a few years ago, didn't they, as well?
Yeah, well, I think when he was like at Real Madrid and stuff, he's just always wanted to play, hasn't he? He's not bothered about where he plays, I don't think. It's a case of that he wants to play every week and he wants to be the first choice.
Yeah,
and he's
Before we wrap up the Club World Cup, I know we haven't previewed it mega there, because a lot of the teams are unknown, to be honest. I watched Al Ali this morning. It's the first time I've seen the Egyptian champions. Next World Cup, Club World Cup, we might see Pyramids FC. Have you ever heard of Pyramids FC?
Yeah.
Some billionaires just invented them. They weren't allowed to have a team they weren't allowed to buy it. They weren't allowed to take over a team in Egypt. So we just made a team called Pyramids FC, which is like the most Egyptian name. We just pumped billions into them. So hey, let's see Pyramids FC.
I can't lie though, that's exactly what I'd do if I had that money.
BB, have you got any wild cards, any dark horses if you might entertain people or anything like that? Or
yeah, Mamelodi Sundowns. I think they'll shock a lot of teams.
So they're South American, right? South
African. Nickname the Brazilians, mate.
It's not a bad nickname to have, is it?
Nickname the Brazilians. The kit is exactly like Brazil's. Blue shorts, white socks, yellow and green.
That's confidence.
Yeah, and they're a good side, mate. I don't think a lot of people.
Well, no, not many people will know who they are, to be honest with you.
No. Obviously, they might have heard of them, but I don't think they'll appreciate how good they actually are at playing football. I think they're going to do well.
Well, I'm going Dortmund. Anyway.
Well, when I say do well, I don't mean Mamelodi Sundowns are going to go and win it. I think it'll be a PSG Man City final.
Yeah. I don't know if I ain't seen the brackets, so maybe it might be if they're on different sides, maybe.
Yeah, I think it works out that it's very likely to be that.
I have seen, but they are planning or thinking of expanding the Club World Cup to 48 teams next time, because teams in Europe have started moaning about it, i.e. Liverpool, Arsenal, Barcelona, who aren't currently in it, and they're like, hang on, you're giving them a massive advantage here. We want a piece of that pie. So the next Club World Cup might be 48 teams.
Yeah, but what's the criteria for bloody qualifying for it?
Just it's good. Win a game of football.
They'll end up bringing the coefficient rules in, won't they?
Oh God!
Oh, you got in because you did well 2 years ago and 3 years ago, but you're actually in bottom 4 now. So get yourselves in here.
There'll be a massive group stage. You can finish 25th in a group and still win it. So.
But you do have to be careful, don't you? That I appreciate. You got, Auckland have every right to be there, but you've got to try and keep the competition as competitive as possible. You can't have teams getting hammered 10-0, and once you start going up to 48 teams or whatever, and you're bringing teams in for all sorts of different countries, I think it becomes a danger of really making it a bit of a mockery.
It's only the European ones moaning about it, and I'm sure some Mexican teams are thinking, "Hang on, you're going to make them unbeatable soon." And it's just because it's a massive wad of cash has been given to these already good teams, because to get into it, you're good.
Well, I don't seem to understand. I don't seem to understand the prize money, to be brutally honest.
Well, it's just the only way FIFA can get them to join and to play in it is by
giving them more money.
Giving them loads of money, yeah.
Because all the European teams get more money than everyone else, don't they? Just in the group stage.
Yeah. Auckland get 3 million
9.
quid, and I'm pretty sure that Chelsea get 12 million quid. So Chelsea just for turning up, not for playing a game.
Yeah, because I know it's like it's 2 million quid a win and £1 million a draw.
Yeah. I mean,
I know
if
that.
Auckland get a draw, I mean, they'll be like laughing to the bank.
The only teams I saw who were majorly annoyed about it were the MLS sides.
Yeah, well.
But that's I don't know if you saw it, but that's to do with the MLS, being a franchise itself, and they've got rules, meaning that the players can only get a maximum of £1 million prize money,
Right.
no matter what competition they enter. Which means
Only $1 million.
It's $1 million. Yeah, but it's £1 million for like the team, not per player.
Oh, okay.
So obviously, it's still a reasonable amount of money, but compared to what everybody else is going to be taking away, I'm not. I think the MLS take money, don't they, from anything any MLS team does.
Right. Okay.
They take a cut of it.
Well, that's
So
American
I think
franchise, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they're saying the rules are so outdated. They wanted the pressed to try and get it changed before the competition happened.
Right.
Which
Well, the
obviously
MLS
hasn't.
trying to change the rules of the MLS.
Well, the MLS teams are trying to change the rules of the MLS.
Isn't there another league in America, and they're going to have relegation and promotion?
Yeah, I think it's everything underneath the MLS, mate, because they've really pushed for it. Because you can't get into the MLS, can you? Because it literally is a franchise.
Right.
So all the teams underneath wanted to make it exciting. I believe it has quite a good following in America. Like most sort of
like college football.
College football, sort of, they get decent crowds, and yeah, they wanted to make it more exciting. So their leagues below all have relegation and promotion.
Yeah. Well, I hope they do. But then, if America do focus on football or soccer, then we're doomed. They'll just dominate this sport.
They do. They just build athletes, don't they? It's
in labs, genetic freaks.
A 17-year-old at 6'4" and 250 pounds.
It's just like create a wrestler, isn't it? And just, on Pro Evo, you can create your own player and you just give him all the stats, all the size, age 16. So you have him for your whole career. Right, we'll leave the Club World Cup there. We'll park it. To summarise, I really like the idea because I like the idea of Boca Juniors versus like Dortmund and stuff. I think that's cool. But the money and everything, how we qualify and that sort of stuff. Yeah, a bit crap. But what can you do? That's just football. That's the way it goes at the moment. Let's move on to some more managerial stuff then. So the big one in the Premier League was Thomas Frank moving from Brentford to Tottenham Hotspur. Joe, I know you're not a big Spurs fan, but try and not be biased. What do you think of the appointment?
I think it's a pretty strong appointment. To be fair, he brings best out of attacking players. There's no denying him makes football fun when they're winning every game at home 4-3. It's quite a fun game to watch. I think if he's got enough pull to try and get Burmo across as well, they could have a really good season. I mean, it's going to be a better season in league standings.
Can't be any worse, can it?
But obviously, you've got to feel a bit for Ange because he broke that duck of no trophies in 17 years, and then they go, on your bike. But I think Spurs probably looked at it and thought it's Frank now or not, because he'll probably end up going somewhere else.
Man United. But I think it's a very good appointment. I think it's a very sensible appointment. Signing the best of the rest, sort of thing. And Brentford, they've been begrudgingly really well run, and like for the past 10 years, he's been there since 2018. That lad, Tom, I can't believe that. Frank, he's been there ages.
That's a long time in football terms now, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't believe he was there that long. And like you say, it looks like they're going to hijack the Embremo deal. Wouldn't surprise me if they get Wisser as well, and then get the boys back together, just in a different colour shirt. Ben, what do you think to the appointment?
Yeah, I think it's sensible on paper. I guess my only concern would be like any other manager making that jump up from being a manager of a good club, well-run club, to then go into a big team like Spurs in terms of how much the players are on. Sometimes I just don't think it works because you can't get your message across like you used to everywhere. It's hard for these managers to carry the level of respect, it seems to me anyway, looking in from the outside. You look at like Graham Potter, obviously a very good manager, who goes to Chelsea and they look like they don't know what they're doing. Is it a case of it that these managers really do just struggle to cope with the egos because they've not necessarily experienced, that level of these high-end players and all the issues it comes with? Because when you're at Brentford and you're at smaller clubs like that, you necessarily don't have as many players knocking on your door, do you, to try and push into the first team because your squad's a lot smaller. These bigger teams, you've got players who aren't playing on mega money as well, and I think it drives a lot of pressure from probably owners as well as everybody else wanting to know why these players I've just paid 60 million quid for don't play.
I know. So there was completely the sign of Matthias Tell. Sky Sports are going crazy about it, saying, "Oh, there's been final discussions." I'm like, it was in his contract, mate. Like they agreed it in January, but he was signing permanent this summer. I don't know why they made such a big deal about it. So that's it. I think the rumour looks like Brentford are looking at Scott Parker. By the looks of it, they're going to nab him from Burnley. I think Parker really impressed me last season. Fans were taking the mix, saying because Burnley kept winning 1-0, and I was like, yeah, but Parker was like known for like being really open and like his team's getting ripped apart and stuff too easily and stuff.
He's definitely evolved as a manager, hasn't he?
He's
From
like
what I
developed
saw.
as a manager, hasn't he? He realised what's gone wrong there and changed his style. I mean, when they attacked Burnley, they attacked really well as well. They scored a lot of goals as well. They weren't just like they only won 1-0, so it's almost like he has developed as a coach. So that could work.
Were he at Bournemouth years ago? I remember him. He got him promoted like convincingly, and they'd had a bit of a rocky start. But they played really good football, and you could see like they were one player away from just putting a ball in back at net to making them a solid team. Probably finish 15th, 16th, but then they obviously just sacked him.
Yeah,
I think they ended up staying up, so yeah, it was a good decision in the end. But I felt bad for him because I was like, he's not even done that bad.
No, me and BB talked about this loads, haven't we, Ben? About like when Company got relegated with Burnley and got the Bayern Munich job because he played good football with Burnley. Do you think that's going to like change the way teams getting promoted? Just managers won't change their style of play now because Russell Martin didn't change at Southampton. He was insistent of playing that possession-based football. Kieran McKenna didn't change at Ipswich. He kept trying to play out from the back and trying to play against teams like Liverpool and got murdered. Do you think managers are now looking at it going, I can just fail upwards now? Ben?
Well, we're so obsessed with data. The thing I never quite understand is when the data is constantly driving at you, that all your goals keep coming because you keep pissing around trying to play out the back. When do they look at the data then? It doesn't seem to matter then, does it? Yeah, but we're doing the right thing.
Well, it's like being at work. It's like being at work, mate. They don't look at the
it's
right
like
there,
being at work. Yeah, once someone's made a decision, it seems like we're just going to stick with it because that's the right thing to do. And well, it's difficult, isn't it? Because when you're seeing Company getting, being able to walk into a Bayern Munich job after being relegated and spending a decent amount of money trying not to get relegated as well, it really does make you think, doesn't it, that no wonder these managers come in and just outright refuse to change. And you get silly answers like, do you have a plan B? Yeah, we just do plan A better.
Yeah.
It's just I hate it. It's the most ridiculous thing ever.
I've been saying it a bit recently because I think that managers now just have their ethos and they just work on that and that is it. Whereas like, I think 10, 15 years ago, they had a different mentality where it'd be like, we'll have a big man on bench, so if it's not working, throw him on and we'll just see what happens. But now it's more like, no, I'm going to play this way, whether it works or not. Ange was the same, which ended up getting him the sack, and I think it's starting that way at United under Amorim as well.
100%.
He will not change his play style, even though the players he's got do not
fit
work.
Don't even fit that position.
Exactly. It's infuriating, but
We're going to give you a job. What system do you play? Wing backs. Well, we ain't got any of them. Well, I'm going to play it anyway. Right, we'll see you Monday. Doesn't make any sense, does it?
And then it don't work. But we signed you on a contract, so here's 15 million, but you're fired. Like, what?
Yeah.
Well, that's it. The sackings make me laugh because, like, there's no incentive to keep your job, is there? Like, there's no fear of getting sacked. Oh, I mean, they paid Eric Ten Hag 28 million quid.
Because they signed him back up after he won FA Cup and he's best manager in the world.
Laughing his head off. Oh, he sacked me. I get 28 million quid. Oh, yeah.
But now he's even got he's got a nice job as well by Leverkusen.
Leverkusen now.
You can't make it up, can you? It's the world of football is just mental. It's absolutely fucking mental.
I honestly do think, though, that football is on the verge of a bit of a change tactically. I think fans are getting... I don't mean fans of Manchester City that love watching Manchester City play out at back, because it's very rare they're going to give the ball away, or top teams. But I think teams of lower clubs, especially when we look at the clubs we support in the Championship, I think you're seeing more and more that fans are just getting fed up. We're watching someone who can't really bring the ball out of the back being forced to do it anyway.
Or just goes long.
Or just smash it long. No, but I don't mean, like, when I say I think you're going to see teams play more direct, I don't mean direct as in like Stoke City back in the day where everything went into big man. I just think you're going to see more progressive passes going forward and a lot more trying to stretch teams.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? When people hear direct, they think you just mean literally hoof it into the box.
Yeah.
No, direct football is what Klopp used to play. Every ball goes forward.
Heavy metal.
Yeah, and you just run onto it.
Yeah, I like players like, I mean, he doesn't do it for us enough, but look, Luis Diaz, players would just run at people and try something new. Like, it's refreshing because it's like the old sort of days where Nani and Ronaldo were just running at players for United and stuff. Whereas now it's run down wing, turn backwards, pass into midfield, and you're like, well, we've got nowhere. We're back to where we were.
Well, going back to the England game, most teams are coached really well now. If you're just going to play football in front of them, even Andorra will give you a good showing because they'll just stick the men behind the ball, they'll stay in a good shape, and if everything is played in front of them, they'll just quite happily sit in the shape and shuffle around, and most teams are very, very good at doing that. And I think that's the frustration of fans, of literally listening to managers all across the country literally sit there and talk about how you've dominated a game because we had 70% possession. We had 6 shots. And the other team can have had 30% possession or whatever and literally had 4 shots to your 6 and won 2-0. and they'll moan about dominating a game. Well, if you only had 2 more shots on target than them, did you really dominate a game of football?
It's how Leicester won the league, wasn't it? It's playing counter-attacking football, have 5 shots a game, but they'd score 2 or 3 because they're just clinical.
You're right. It's something will happen.
Personally, are you bored of watching just possession-based football for the sake of holding possession?
Well, it makes me laugh. It makes me laugh. Last season, Beadle would pass to Iorfa, who would then pass to Bernard, who would pass back to Beadle. The crowd would then start going, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" Because they're getting closing down and they're looking a bit shaky. He passed to Iorfa, and Iorfa just boot up the field. And you think, well, why don't you just boot up the field in the first place? Save all that nervousness and stuff, and just because players do definitely feel what the crowd are feeling. So when there's so much when there's so much anxiety in the crowd, it does seep onto the pitch. And, I know they should be better at handling it, but it does. It is true. It does happen.
Yeah, I understand them wanting to beat the press, but there's nothing more frustrating than managing to beat the first press, and as soon as it goes into the second phase in midfield, all he does is put his foot on it and pass it back to your defender anyway.
Oh.
So all you've done is made 10 yards. you put yourself under all that pressure to make 10 yards and just slow the game down even more.
Well, I'm finding first halves, especially in the league at Wednesday. Any team, most teams I've watched this season in the league, even the Premier League, like I find first half so boring. It's almost like teams just aren't bothered. It's like we can't win it in the first half. Us win us, and then all the action happens in the second half, and like they know they can win the game. It's almost like I've watched so many Arsenal games this season where it's 0-0. It gets the last 15 minutes, and then suddenly they start passing forward, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Again, though, like you said, it's data driven, isn't it? You can't lose the game if you've got the ball 80% of the game, kind of thing. It's very like the odds will shrink, and that's kind of what they play with. And I miss football where it were get it to 25 yards and smash it as hard as you can.
Yeah.
It was fun. You got to see some absolute beautiful goals.
But it's even bleeding into like 7-a-side and that when I play, and you see him like overplaying in them sort of like leagues and stuff. And you just think, just hit, and I always just shouting, hit it, have a go. Do you have a concept? Just have a go. Like, I don't know. I just like seeing shots. I like seeing goals. And
well, we spoke about it a lot, didn't we? And going back to PSG, and you watch like the Arsenal game and how much they try to overplay. Fabian Ruiz just gets his head over it in a position. Same as doing the final. It gets a deflection and goes in. I really am bored of just looking at the data-driven thing, thinking, yeah, but if we pass this ball one more time and find an extra pass, that might give us a better opportunity to get your shot off with no one in front of you. But you think like the amount of goals that are scored by people taking early shots that go through defenders' legs even without taking deflection, that's the one that surprises the goalkeeper.
Same fixture, first leg. Osman Dembele hit it first time. I think David Weir would have been expected shot.
Yeah.
And it like bounced off the floor. It would have been a clean strike, and he sort of like looks at it like, "Oh my god, you've had a shot from there."
Yeah.
It does seem like sometimes when you watch football nowadays, keepers don't move as much as they used to.
Yeah.
It feels like they're standing middle of net, and if it goes 5 yards to the other side, they're like, good shot. Well done, it's in. Like,
it's probably just so used to being in training and watching them just pass, and never actually bloody shoot.
And then miss it.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, Liverpool are about to sign this week. Florian Wirtz is probably going to sign this week. Joe, you must be buzzing, aren't you?
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, it's probably the biggest signing we've made, as in like name and price tag. In years, to be fair, we don't really go for those kind of like Hollywood players. We usually go for the sort of off the cuff ones, sort of like your Alisson at Roma, who was touted really well, but it's not like he was that household name.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited. I think, like I said earlier, Slot, I think he knows what he wants, and he's got a really clear vision of how he wants to do it. So we're making early moves, which I like. It gives him a little bit more time to sort of...
They're going to get Kirkes as well by the looks of it, aren't they, as well?
Yeah, I heard today apparently he's turned down offers from other places because he only wants to speak to us. Again, I can't remember a time where we had a little bit more pull than most teams to say like they don't want anyone else. But to take a German player out of Germany from Bayern Munich as well, that's incredible for us. I remember being hurt back in the day when Royce and Götze both said no to us because they were like, that'd be great, but yeah, it wasn't to be. And Gundogan actually, and he went to City, which stung.
Will he play as a 10 in the midfield, or will he play him off the left?
I've been having conversations in a group chat, and I'm kind of thinking he might play him as a false 9. Right. And let him do all the creativity with sort of Grav and McAllister sitting a bit further back, and Szoboszlai just being the one who runs around like a madhead.
Allowing Diaz and Salah to run off him.
If we keep Diaz, it sounds like he could be going to Saudi if they come in with a nice enough offer. But if not, it's Gakpo doing the exact same stuff, but cutting in and whipping it with his right foot. So
I think Jota's still floating about.
Yeah.
Darwin Núñez.
Is it Robertson's going to Atletico Madrid or in talks?
in talks. Apparently, they
Yeah.
want him as a top priority. So, and obviously, if we get Kirkes, we've got 3 left backs. There's very little use for 3. I would prefer to get rid of Tsimikas and keep like his sort of leadership and experience. But
I think Robertson will want to play only towards the end of his career. He'll probably want to play as much as he can.
Yeah, he's still a good player, and I think, no disrespect to La Liga, but if he goes over there, he'll look a lot better than he did this season for us, even a year later, because he's still got that, he's still got the good pace to go forward and get back. He's just sort of lost that little bit of what made him probably our best left back of 20 years or so.
I'm just hoping Hull City have got a sell-on clause.
I think you have. I think it's
25%. I think I read, but
20,
I don't know if it's true.
I think it's 20 or 25%. I know you've got a sell-on clause. I'm just not sure on the actual price.
So cheap. So it was like £6 million they're signing for, isn't it? That's got to be one of the best signings ever, isn't it?
It were even better that Hull took one of our really okay academy players for $6 million, and we got him for 8. So we kind of got him for $2 million. And I think it was Stewart, something Stewart. I think.
Yeah. I forgot his first name, but it was crap.
I didn't want to say that, but yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be one of the best transfers ever, hasn't it?
I mean, we've had a few over the years, but that one just
how much he's paid and what he's done.
He's just a fan favourite as well. Everyone loves him. He just galvanises that team sometimes, like against Barcelona and stuff.
As well, didn't it?
Well, yeah, because we had Alberto Moreno. Less said about him, the better.
Kamikaze hero, wasn't he?
Oh, he were either best player on planet or he was the worst, but it was the worst with 8 out of 10 times.
Right, we'll have a little moan about Sheffield Wednesday now. It's a couple of minutes. Apparently, the wages have been paid for the non-playing staff and the coaches.
Right.
And some players have been paid.
You were going please, Barry Bannon.
Well, I think he definitely paid Barry Bannon. I think that would be 100%. It was the one who'd been paid. So I don't know. Apparently, he's then rang up Danny Roll and said, "I want you back in work now." And Rolls is basically.
I heard this rumour. Yeah.
Why would he want to go back to there? He's doing everything he can to get out of the club. Why would he want to stay? It's an absolute shit show, and I've seen a lot of Wednesday fans turn on Roll, and I just don't know how you can turn on him. Why would you want to stay as that is your job? When you've got all this potential and you want to test yourself and that sort of stuff. And
I'll tell you now, he won't get no thanks if you do rubbish next year.
Oh no!
And no one will say, "Well, they're in a mess." He'll just get sacked, and he won't get the benefit of the doubt of how much they're in a mess. Mess you are. And if you've got a current squad of 16 and he can't even bring in any players, he needs to get out while he's.
Who's gonna sign for him? Let's just say Preston, Bristol City, Hull, and Wednesday offer the same player a contract. Surely their agent's gonna go. Well, they didn't get paid twice last year.
Yeah.
Probably avoid them.
But you can just go, we got Sheffield though. It's a nice city.
Used to be.
Yeah. It's still all right for a pint, depending on where you go.
Did I read today that it wasn't that long ago Chancery rejected a $160 million offer for Sheffield Wednesday?
Yeah. Apparently, he keeps turning down offers. Now people are saying, look, you're devaluing the club. We're not. I think people are willing to pay about 50 million quid for it, and then he won't take that.
Do you think he's actually trying to sell the club, or is he just saying it for the fact of that he needs to put it out there that he will sell the club, and he's just going to keep rejecting anything?
Well, he's not put it out there officially, has it? It's all just hearsay, isn't it?
Right.
It's just absolutely insane. I saw a tweet today. The Football League starts in 47 days.
Well, that's ominous for you.
We've not got one pre-season friendly officially scheduled. Yeah, manager doesn't want to be there. Summer players aren't being paid. June's pay is due in 15 days. So
Like, here's a friendly, and it's 40 quid a ticket. Thanks, I need some money.
yeah, it's I'm crying inside. Trust me, it's not.
I bet you are.
It's so sad as well to see, because the start of his reign and stuff, and the start of his ownership were so promising, and it looked like he were going to be a decent owner after a few ropey times for you, and it's turned into a bit of a.
It's just embarrassing, and Sheffield United are just so far ahead. It's a joke, to be honest.
I think it's just another example, Blair, isn't it, that when these chairmen really do take the gamble of trying to get to the Premier League and it doesn't pay off, it really does bite you.
Well, they had no plan B. It was just like, I'm going to spend this money on all these established players. So we're going to get promoted. I mean, they got very close twice, 2 years in a row, but that was it. And then it was like, well, once that failed, I don't know what to do now.
Well, I still remember, once you bought Jordan Rhodes, back then I thought it was signed, sealed, delivered.
Yeah,
I thought he was just going to score goals galore. And it turns out, for some reason, he can't do it in a Worcestershire shirt.
He scored in his debut as well, which is crazy. So it looked like it was going to go mental. Well, for his home debut, he got an assist on his away debut. So Hull, we'll talk about Wednesday again next week, see if any more developing. Hull, have you got a manager yet, Ben?
Yeah, Jakirovic is in.
Is it official?
It's official. He's in.
Is it? When did it get official?
Was it like last Tuesday or something?
Oh,
I can't remember what day it was.
I completely missed that.
But yeah, it's official now. He's bringing some staff with him from his old club. I saw there's been a few, not just from fans, but other podcasts out there, slating him as a completely and utterly unknown manager. Yet he's managed Maribor,
Dynamo Zagreb.
And Dynamo Zagreb, mate. Which,
I mean,
as far as I'm aware, they're both playing big European competitions. I know English fans might not know a lot about these clubs. And did I know a lot about Jakirovic? No, but you can't call these managers a complete unknown because we haven't heard of them. And they've managed big European clubs. Yeah. He's got about a 60% win ratio wherever he's been. He's just taken over for 5 months being at Kayserispor in Turkey, who were bottom of the league and in an absolute mess. He didn't even sign any players. He had something like the 4th best win ratio for the rest of the 5 months he was there, and kept him up well and truly safe.
Yes, it's quite. There's grounds to be optimistic, isn't there? But
yeah, absolutely. And I'm not one of these people who just thinks that you have to sign a manager with championship experience, because there's as many as them, that just go around and around in a circle at different clubs that fail, as much as the foreign managers coming in and do the same. So the main thing for me is, you can go to these clubs, can't you, as English clubs, and take them out with a relatively decent compensation. You try and take someone out of England, and they've already been here, it becomes very expensive.
Yeah, completely agree. Right, and shall we end it on a quiz?
Yeah, go for it.
Go on then. Back to the Club World Cup then. So the Club World Cup, believe it or not, started in the year 2000. So it's not even that old, relatively.
Didn't even make its 25th birthday then until it got rebranded.
Didn't even make its 25th birthday then. So again, a game of categories again. So we'll go Joe first, then Ben. It's just basically winners of the Club World Cup. So there's 24 of them. So Joe.
I'll go Liverpool then. I'll kick that off.
Ben. Real Madrid.
Yeah, Real Madrid have won. Real Madrid have won 5.
Right, okay. It proves how much of this I'm going to know.
I'll say I'm probably about done there, to be fair, but go Barcelona.
Barcelona have won 3 Club World Cups.
Bayern Munich.
Yeah, Bayern Munich have won 2 of them.
I've got Manchester United.
Man United have won it, 2009.
Inter Milan.
Inter Milan.
Am I out?
They've won it.
Manchester City. Did they not win the last one?
Man City won it, yeah.
We'll go Juventus.
Juventus. I think you might be out here, Ben. I'm just going to check. I'm just going to check another source just in case. Sometimes transfer marks can be a bit weird. Wow. Juventus have got a long page to scroll down.
Building suspense.
I know. No, they have not won it.
Yeah, I'm out then.
For the win, Joe. I mean, I think Joe's technically won it because he went first anyway. But for the win, Joe, can you think of another one?
I will go with AC Milan.
AC Milan have won it. Yeah.
And just as I think Porto might have, but I'm not sure if they got beat when they won the Champions League or not.
No, Porto haven't won it. So that was 2006, weren't it? That one.
2004, I think. So it'd been 2005, maybe. No, we went.
Mourinho had probably already taken all his players to Chelsea by that point.
Yeah. No, they didn't win it. Sao
I'm
Paulo.
glad I went with the AC.
Yeah. Well, that's it then. That's another episode done. Oh yeah, sorry. Anything but football. I'll tell you what. Slow horses. Don't sleep on that. That's a good show.
It is a very good show.
Gary Oldman's very, very funny.
I've heard very good things. Not seen it yet.
But it's a very serious programme. But if you speak to anyone about it, they'll just make, because Gary Oldman's so funny in it, it make it sound like a comedy, and it's not a comedy at all. Like, he's just very funny. But I've just seen an episode, Ben, where he's had one of his agents running around the Cotswolds. Yeah, I think he's in the Cotswolds. Upshot.
Yeah.
And he basically says, like, to find the killer. And he gets in the car with him, and he goes, "Oh, I've just found all this intel." And he goes, "Oh yeah, I already knew who killed him." Because I found that out the other day. He went, "Why didn't you ring me?" Because I couldn't be asked.
Yeah, he's class, mate, isn't he?
Yeah, it's fun. Right, cheers, lads. Probably see you next week.
Yeah, been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, pal.
No problem.
Cheers, Blair. Bye.
Thank you.